conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. But Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of Anfield gold. We are all supporters, and we come from Liverpool.
Welcome to the match debate, discussing a 2-1 win over Norwich in the FA Cup and a very needed 1-0 win over West Ham in the Premier League. Based on the results this morning, I suppose everyone knows why. It is very, very important. And FYI, just for those watching now or in the future, if we do happen to go off air, it's not because of a cancellation. It's because we have tremendous thunderstorms coming across Western Sydney right now, which Peter and myself are experiencing. So if you do hear some bleed through the microphones, just know that we are okay and safe. So, Mr. Kafinas, good evening to you, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Well, let's just see if my roof holds on. But so far, it's a good evening. Yeah,
I think you'll be okay. The roads are a bit of a different question. A little bit slippery, a little bit flooded, a little bit overloaded with the excess water that's traveling through today. I think we've all experienced.
This country is just like a year and a half, 2 years ago, we were caught on fire, and now we're the whole country, or not the whole country, but majority of the country here is New South Wales and Queensland are under water. So
yeah,
crazy,
it's amazing. Man. Yeah, it's amazing how nature really does take over and do its thing. So stay safe out there. But just so you guys know, most of us, I think, we're okay. I think Queensland are a little bit suspect. I think Steve, who resides in Queensland, was under caution, but I think he's okay, and nothing's happening in Melbourne. They're probably still in lockdown because of the Andrews. Who the hell knows down there?
They've got their own issues.
For Jim, yeah, they do have their own issues. Very much like many people around the world right now, but we're not here to talk about that. We're going to talk about Liverpool FC. Pete, just to kick things off with a bit of a flashback here. A 2-1 FA Cup win versus Norwich wasn't, again, it looked like to be pretty cruisy, pretty easy, but we did give him some flashes at goal in the first half. Alisson had to make a couple of saves, and not for some near misses, it could have really gone a little bit haywire in that second half. But overall, what did you think? Because we did have a changed team based on the Carabao Cup final.
Like I said, I love the Cup games because you get to see the others play. Like I call them the others, but I don't mean it disrespectfully. It's just the others. Like, because obviously you saw Tsimikas have his part to play in both goals. We saw him, he's quite energetic. He's full of life. He's hungry. He's enjoyable to watch. Then the one I'm buzzing for again is Minamino, because a lot of people wrote him off way too early and were quite unfair in the judgment on Minamino. And once again, he just continues to step up and step up and step up every time he's called upon. So again, I'm actually buzzing for Minamino because these goals, these games are so important for him, especially if we plan on going deep in most competitions this year. So having someone like him who is well aware what the goal looks like when he comes on, right? Because it's super important. But the one that a little bit disappointment, because I thought he was having a great game, was Curtis Jones having to come off through an injury scare. That one annoyed me because he was having a good game, and obviously when Curtis Jones play as well, Liverpool play well.
It very much was the case of seeing the others play, and Taki seems to be doing well in his cup games. Hasn't really had the joy of playing in Premier League that often, but in the Carabao Cup games, in the FA Cup at least, he is delivering. So it's nice to see we do have some cup specialists, if you will, because many, many years ago, we would have certain players who would play in cups and we would go far in the cups, but in the league, they would not produce, they couldn't produce oxygen on a cup from breathing onto it, if that makes sense. Whereas we just now have some players who just have different things that they're good in. And Minamino is one of them. I mean, when he first came in, we probably thought we'd see a lot more of him. We haven't really. But Luis Diaz seems to be doing well, and we'll get onto him against West Ham in a bit. But just on the FA Cup match, because it was a much changed squad, we had Jota up front, Origi and Taki, obviously with the 2 goals, the midfield of Jones, Henderson and Chamberlain, and then a very much changed backline of Tsimikas, Gomez, Kanate, and Milner at right back. I know you love Milner at right back, Pete.
Yeah, it's great. And it's absolutely great. But yeah, Gomez, I thought was an interesting one. I think Steve in our group and Jimmy
Hmm.
thought that he could have done better with the goal.
For the goal. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess look, damned if you do, damned if you don't with that one. Like you let him shoot, he scores. If you rush to the ball and he passes to somebody else, they may score. That's one of them ones for me. But I'm just happy that Gomez is getting minutes. Again, I look at it that way. When it comes to these cup games, yeah, of course, we want to try and go a domestic double this year. That would be great. But I think for people like Gomez, who we may need to call upon during the season, again, if we plan on running deep in most competitions, valuable minutes, and you try to be as positive as you can, regardless of what, maybe just call it a mistake to the goal. Okay, fair enough. But he's on the pitch. He's healthy at the moment, and we trust him to put, to give him those kind of minutes on the pitch. So, again, next round, what is it? Nottingham Forest, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got Nottingham Forest, still one more Champions League than Man City and Arsenal
Yeah.
combined.
Yeah, but that's fine. Let's, we can touch on the FA Cup since we're on it now. We can talk about our next opponent. Obviously, historically, it's a nice match, but again, this should be a kind of match where we field that sort of team and be okay and get into the semi-finals, because it's a quarter-final, right?
Yeah, it is the quarterfinals, and I think before this we had never made it past the quarterfinals with the Jurgen Klopp team in NFA Cup.
No, we haven't. So it's something like that. So I think, and it's no disrespect to Nottingham, because our cup team now is actually quite strong. Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, Minamino, Tsimikas, Gomez, like Firmino probably because he'll be fit by then. Origi, like serious players. Like they're good players. So it's not like a second string. Like it's a second string side, but they're not second string players. So I think they're definitely good enough to go through and get us into the semi-finals against one of the big dogs.
Well, in saying that, semi-finals when they come around Nottingham Forest, they knocked out who did they beat? Was it Arsenal that they beat?
I think so.
I think it was Arsenal. I think Middlesbrough beat Tottenham. Arsenal
And
got
United,
knocked
wasn't
out.
it?
Man United, sorry, maybe it was. I
Yeah.
can't remember. Anyways, they did some good business. Let's just put it that way.
Tottenham's still in the league. Excuse me. Tottenham's still in the cup.
No, they lost in the FA Cup, dude.
You sure?
In injury time, yeah, 100%. They lost in extra time. Sorry, they lost. It was Middlesbrough that beat Tottenham. I know because I watched the Expressions Oozing's live stream when I got to work when it was still going on, and he was just not happy at all. He was not happy at all. But that's what happened there. Quickly shout out to Hector Joseph. Yes, we are doing well. As we said, some floods around us, but not directly impacted. And he says, the legends, and I would love to meet Man City in the FA Cup finals. We reckon it's a possibility.
I'm hoping Southampton knock them out next game anyway, so I really don't.
Oh, that's right. A bit of a bogey team, Southampton. Yes, indeed.
I hope Southampton do them.
Indeed.
And then
we'll
probably end up versing Chelsea in the final again.
Again, another cup game against Chelsea for another domestic cup. Who the hell knows? But 2-1 win against Norwich in the FA Cup. We go on, and it's nice to see Taki Minamino scoring some goals. And again, if we do progress even further, I think we do have to give him props and say, "Hey, Taki, thanks for helping get us through once again to another cup progression from your contribution." So nice to see that happening. Now, Matt, back to business now. A 1-0 win over West Ham this morning, not this morning, rather the other night for us. And it wasn't the prettiest, it wasn't the most exciting, it wasn't the most comfortable, but it was definitely much needed.
It's funny. This is going to be a short topic, I reckon, because it was one of those typical like Liverpool games where they just frustrate the shit out of you for no reason. Like, why are you doing this to us? Like, we love you. Don't do this to us. Like, we don't deserve this. And it's one of the ones that you kind of go, we'll fuck this up now. And to be fair, I give them all credit. West Ham maybe should have gotten a point out of that game.
Yeah.
But they didn't, so sucked in. But it's one of them ones, it was that game where you just kind of go, not this, man. We just win a trophy. And then the first thing we do is instead of putting pressure on City, is that we fuck the match up. It was a boring match for me. I didn't enjoy it too much. I think there was just KG. I think the only bright spark, or there were a few bright sparks, but Trent's defending was one of them. Trent in general is always a bright spark, but Luis Diaz, my God, he's just He's exciting, man. He's absolutely electric, and yeah, I mean, other than that, there really isn't much to talk about the game, is there?
I mean, we happened to jag ourselves a goal in the 27th minute, whatever it was, through a Trent. Some would say shot, some would say cross, but Mane's there for a tap in. And again, that was down to VAR review. And it was, you're looking at them like, shit, is this going to be another one of those,
One of
sleeve
them
of a
ones.
jersey offside calls? Like how, like his shoulder's a little bit, 2 mils thicker than the opponent because he does shoulder presses. So he gets denied a goal now. Like there's the thin margins that we're discussing now.
Yeah, I
But
know.
it was onside, it was given. And some people were fuming, Liverpool cheats and all that sort of shit. It's like,
It's fucking
bro,
onside. Shut
we
up.
don't make those decisions. Like, how many times do I have to say it myself? Like, I don't like that the offsides are so marginal that millimeters determine whether it is or it isn't. By the same token, when a goal is scored, the ball has to be completely over the line. Now you can say, I don't like it, but realistically, I can agree to that because the ball's over the line. It's over the line. You can't deny it. Like if
Yeah.
that was the case, we would still be fuming about the City no goal from a couple of seasons ago when it came down to the wire. You know what I mean? We'd still be fuming about that. But that's come and gone. Same with VAR now. Fine margins. Mane ends up scoring his goal, and Salah seemed to be a little bit, I
Shite.
don't know, off it. Yeah,
Just shit.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
like
say off it, but
he
yes.
was. But you know what? He was poor in the Carabao Cup final too, right? And it's
Hmm.
nothing. This is not Salah bashing or whatever. It's just you got to be honest. And again, I said this on one of the last time. I think the last time he played bad was 5 months ago, and we brought that up. We said with someone like him, he's actually got credit in the bank to play shit and not and someone just to say, yeah, big deal. Okay, a bad game, so what? He's allowed to play another 10 bad games before you can bring it up. And I agree to that because obviously just look at what he's done this season alone. Absolutely normal, not normal like what he's been doing. So you kind of let him go a little bit, but it's funny because ever since Luis Diaz has come in and everyone's talking about him, Salah's been like pouring in the Carabao Cup final, pouring against West Ham. It's like he doesn't like the attention anywhere else because
and
when he was on fire, Mane was stinking the joint up, and Firmino was in and out of injuries, and it was just Salah, right? Now
yep.
that Luis Diaz is getting people talking, and he tries to do too much. Again, he's trying to do that too much thing, that one too many touches, one too many, or just shooting for the sake of shooting, or trying to get into that score sheet again. And it's one of them
It's
ones.
it's like he's trying too much to look the part. Like we know you're a great
Yeah,
footballer. I think that's that's a non debate. It's a non contest. You are a great footballer, one of the best. Top 3, top 5 in the world. If not one of the top 2, for example, depending on which aisle you fall under. But you don't need to overcomplicate things. You can still do simple things. I mean, sometimes the players who do the simple things well stand out the most. And that's what we're looking for with Salah. He can do simple, he can do complex. And when he does complex, sometimes he frustrates the hell out of you because what should be simple ends up being complex for Salah. But with Mane now, because he also had a bit of a how's it going period after the AFCON, even before that, he was still, is Mane on it? Is he off it? But he's playing that central striker's role because Diaz was cutting in off that left. Salah was on that right. What did you make of Mane playing that central striker role? He got his
I've
goal
enjoyed
after
it.
all.
I've enjoyed it to an extent. I have enjoyed it because he's less predictable, I guess. Because lately when he's playing on the left, you can just tell he's not going to go down the line. He's going to cut in, take too many touches, lose the ball, or because I do feel like he's been out of form this season in terms of what we're used to seeing. But I like him as a 9 because other than him being a little bit sloppy in possession, I think it suits him because he gets to do drift. And it becomes hard to mark, and he finds himself in really good positions. So I feel like, I think Carabao Cup final, I think it was in the first half in particular, I thought he was quite good. Second half, he dropped off a little bit. But again, like the goal that he scored on the weekend against West Ham was through a central position and just ghosting in behind. So I think I quite like him there, and it does ask opposition teams more questions because it's like, well, he's normally the guy who drifts in and Robertson runs around and either cuts it to Robertson or drives in for a shot.
I was
But
literally
now
just about to say that.
but now it's like, well, he's drifting, but there's also somebody else now we have to worry about. So I think it's a good problem to have for us. I think it's something that we should stick with. Even with Jota back and whatever. Because I think Luis Diaz at the moment is much more dangerous to play than than Mane. Sorry, on the left side. I think when someone's in form like that, you've got to play him.
Yep.
But I truly believe we should stick with Mane as a 9.
Is that something that, well, when he was at Southampton, he used to play that central role, didn't he? Like that number 10, like behind the striker
Yeah.
of sorts, before
Yeah,
he got, and when he first came to Liverpool, he got shifted out on the right. And then when Salah came in, he got shifted out to the left, and it sort of works out because you'll cut in with his right and Salah cuts in with his left. And, Firmino did the thing in the middle. But as you said there, normally when you see him score goals playing on the left side, he would score from a central position because Salah would be out on the right wing. Firmino would be, dropping back a little bit or allowing space for Mane to run into, and he'd have a right back or a midfielder sort of like covering his sort of position. So he's used to being in that area. So I don't think it's foreign to him. I think, like you said, it just gives him more opportunity to move around. He doesn't have to stick to one side. He can move left, move right, go back a little bit, move forward. So he's able to operate, in that central area, which allows Diaz to do his thing on the wing. And like you say, Diaz, you see, shit, now I got Mane in the middle. Oh shit, now I got Salah on the other side. Like it keeps defenders, obviously on their toes.
I think with Mane as well, one underrated skill that he's got that people, I think, don't mention enough of is how good he's in the air.
Yes. How many goals? Just getting his head to the ball.
But he's also good at holding up play because he's got a really good, he's got strength and he knows his own strength. He knows how to use his own strength. So he's actually holds the ball up quite well at the top as well. And you can trust him to play like a long ball from Alisson, for example, to either get a flick on or hold it up to wait for support because of his ability in the air is so strong. And I think that's one of his underrated skills that people don't mention enough of. I mean, they're quick to bash him, and you know what? Yeah, he's made some terrible decisions in possession, but I think we also got to praise him for the stuff he's good at. And I think one of those things is his ability in the air.
It's amazing for it's not the tallest fella, it's not the shortest fella either. But I mean, realistically, as you said it there, like for someone who doesn't look tall, he really does get to the ball. He's only 175 centimeters. And he does have a bit of a leap on him. Let's be real here. He's gotten to more headers than Salah, definitely. Obviously, that's probably not part of Salah's game. But even if you look at Jota, for example, Jota's gotten how many headed goals has he scored? Manages to find himself in a position to get his noggin to the ball. So not a bad thing to have. And maybe it's something that he likes to work on. Again, it's that unpredictability of Mane. You can whip a cross in and he'll get to it with his head, or you can put it to the floor and he'll tap it in, or chip the keeper with a back heel, or score an overhead kick, or whatever it is that you need. So
he's also very good at drawing fouls. Don't forget,
yes,
he's very good at drawing fouls, and if he's drawing fouls in central positions, then it's also very good for us because it means Trent can get behind a ball, not Salah. Salah should stay away from every free kick possible, but get Trent behind the ball, and hopefully anything can happen from there.
Can we just mention Trent Alexander-Arnold for a second? He is on fire at the moment.
That we haven't.
Yeah, he is on fire at the moment. Arguably, he is the best right back, Premier League, Europe. I don't know if you want to extend it out to the world, but the amount of work that he does going forward, even defending, even when he had to, stop the ball from going in after Alisson was chipped, and he started losing out the linesman after that as well.
But he was onside, right?
Yeah, like the amount of vitriol he was giving to that liner was just, it was interesting to see Trent actually blow up like that, which shows that he actually cares a bit of passion. But that could be a negative side effect of the high line that we play. West Ham played into it, well, you'd probably say. But him just going forward, balls going into the box, the amount of running this guy does on that right wing is just absolutely amazing. Let's be real.
So it's funny. I know everybody, or people who know me personally, or watch this show long enough to know whether it's LFC Culture Days or not, know what I think of Gerrard, and they know that for me, it goes Gerrard first, then God the Creator second. It's like, but I think I'm yet to see anybody's passing ability like Alexander-Arnold. And for me, I always had Gerrard at that stage where it was Gerrard, then everybody else. So not really don't give a shit, rather play. You mentioned to me, but I think with Trent, you've got a mixture of Gerrard, Beckham, De Bruyne, Zidane, all of them into one in terms of his passing ability. He can use inside of his foot. He can use his left foot. He can use the outside of his foot. He can drive the ball. He can chip the ball. He can volley the fucking thing anywhere he wants. I think for me, I'm yet to see in my lifetime anyway somebody with that kind of passing ability.
And that's the thing, like we use it as an outlet from right back to the left wing or upfield or crossfield ball, and even just across the pitch. Van Dijk also has that ability as well. And let's just give props as well. Van Dijk, 60 games undefeated. I think he holds that now as a single player to be undefeated at their home ground in the Premier League. So, I mean, like, holy shit. Like, people say, like, oh, Van Dijk was done after his ACL. He's forget it. Give me a break, man. Van Dijk is, mate, Van Dijk. Let's not get it twisted now. But with Trent's whole thing, I mean, with those passes, it's not just his passes, it's also his ability to get past players as well and whip a cross in, a free kick every so often. So, and being both ambidextrous, both left foot and right foot, it's important to note that when he plays on the right wing, he owns it. When he's on the left, though, if he had to go on the left, does that sort of like give him any weaknesses? I'm not saying he will, but if he had to, because he can use both feet, does that negatively impact him?
No. I think he's that good with both feet that it actually doesn't matter. I think you wouldn't. I reckon he could take better left-footed corners than Robertson.
You might beat the first player on the post.
Yeah, so
and
for me, I don't care where he plays. He's that good.
Hector Joseph says, not forgetting Xabi Alonso. We had two passing masters in our team, Gerard and Xabi.
Yep, correct.
And now we have... Someone's going to clip that. So that's that there with Trent being a boss. And let's talk about Diaz, because he was Diaz-ling, and you can see he's itching for a goal. He's had 7 games now in total, or 7 appearances.
Yeah, he's got that one goal that he scored that was quite nice, but yeah.
Apart from that, he's got that one goal in the Premier League. Set up a goal in the FA Cup, arguably against Leicester, but playing on that left wing, everyone's raving about him already, and I've seen memes, and I love watching memes. I think Sports Bible or one of those have like sarcastic memes, and it's like when Liverpool players mention Luis Diaz, and someone says like, "Oh, he's the best player in the world to ever play football," sort of a thing, like sarcastically.
Yeah.
But he does look that damn good. He just needs to find that end product of a goal every maybe second or third game.
It's funny you mentioned that, Nick. I had a convo with a mate of mine the other day. We were just talking about Luis Diaz or Liverpool in general. Talking about the front, I actually said it. I didn't mean this in a bad way, but I said to him, I said, I can see Luis Diaz getting involved in so many goals, but I don't see him being on the end of them. So I can see him being the creator, like the pass before the goal or assist to the goal or doing a 1v1 shot, parry goal or creating havoc, 2-3 passes later, goal. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? I think he will have his part in a lot of goals for Liverpool Football Club.
You mean like the second assist?
Yeah, I think he'll cause a lot of problems that leads to goals. I just don't think he will get many. And I'm not trying to be negative. It's not a negative thing at all. I just think that and I hope to God I'm wrong, but I think that he won't score many, but I feel like he will have his hand in a lot of them.
I mean, it did take a couple of shots, 5 in total. I think he had 3 blocked, 2 off target. He did try to, whip 1 or 2 in the top corner, hit top bins, which didn't really get to. But I mean, for a new player coming into this squad, playing the way we play with the intensity that we have, I mean, you saw he was absolutely gassed in the Carabao Cup final. That's why he came off, and he's been going hard out for us. And I think he's been coming off with a couple of minutes to spare for every match and putting someone else on just to waste a bit of time for Klopp. But you can see that Klopp really wants him to be, ready to go when it's called upon, because we still have a couple of months left in the league, plus Champions League, plus FA Cup as well. So you can't afford to have a player who you spend big money on and think, he's going to come good for next season. No, you need this player now. And he looks like he's come in with intent to really perform as a player the whole season. Yeah, you want him to play as a player who's been here for the whole, season thus far. He's only been here for like a month.
So I'm saying it looks like he's literally been here for like a couple of years, and this is his final season where he's kind of like finally, you can see, because sometimes with Klopp players, they take a year and a half or a year or 6 months sometimes to kind of get the groove, and then they start playing again.
Yeah,
it feels like Diaz, this is like his second season now. He understands what we're trying to do, like Tsimikas, and here he is. No, he's only been here for a month.
I know.
It's
crazy.
It's unbelievable that he's only going to get better.
It's crazy. It's crazy with the players here. Like, okay, he hasn't really produced much, but like if he gives you an assist a game or every second game or a goal, like if he contributes to a goal or two every 2, 3 games, plus causing the headaches that he causes defenses. And I think, like Hector said just there, like I can't wait for him to come up against the City defense because obviously, you'll look to see what he's like against the defense that we're challenging for a title. So that's going to be interesting, and it does look like it may very much come down to that one game because whilst we still have our game in hand, City are still winning. I mean, they ripped apart a very piss poor Manchester United 4-1 overnight. I mean, you couldn't even tell that was Man U in the second half. Nothing
They're
going on there.
shit.
Yeah, but when we get to the Etihad come April 10th. A lot of people are saying whoever wins that game will win the league. I don't think it's as simple as that, but whoever wins the game will take the advantage moving towards the end of the season. So it's not all done and dusted, but it's going to be a very, very impactful result there. I mean, if it ends up in the draw, well, then who the hell knows what will happen? But man, if Tottenham can go there and get a result, we sure as
Yeah,
hell can.
but
And we can
Nick,
play much better.
we've got harder games before we play City, man.
I know that, which is why I said before, like when it comes to like it wasn't easy or pretty, but it was important. And this is actually I thought about this driving home from work this afternoon. Like at this point of the season, I do not care how we win. I don't
Oh
care.
God, no.
I don't care if it's an own goal. I don't care if the ball actually went out, but it was kept in play and people call us cheats. I don't care if it was a tap in from a millimeter outside the goal line. I do not care. I just want to win games at this point. Do not care how they come.
No, God, that's the only thing that matters from now at the end of the year or end of the season is points because that's what's going to win you the league, points. So who cares how the points come as long as they're there. But for me, it's not the City game. I think we'll know if we have a shot before we play City. And again, I've said this on other shows before. There's a whole reason why I'm not getting excited because of all that. It's just enjoyable to be in a race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at the moment, because that's how I'm looking at it. Like, yay, we're not in, Rangers. Yeah,
Yeah, let's get for the
Rangers
five.
kind of league. And I just think I'm just happy that we're in a race and we're keeping it close. But I think by the time we play City, we will know if we have a chance because we have Arsenal to play before them. I even think it's Manchester United before them, isn't it?
It's been postponed. I think that's when the FA Cup game may be in action. So that could be maybe a bit of a blessing. I don't know if it's a blessing or not, but I mean, if we don't have to play United at home, I think they'll be more pleased with that than us. But we have Watford at home, then it's the City game. So depending on when the FA Cup game comes in play, we will have Watford and then it'll be City.
And what about Arsenal?
Arsenal is on the 16th. So we've got Brighton X in the Premier League this weekend. A few days after that, that's when we've got Arsenal away, which again,
That's
they're
our catch-up
chasing
game,
top
isn't
four.
it?
Yeah, correct. And they're chasing top 4 as well at the Emirates. So that's not going to be an easy game.
For me, that's the game that I'm looking at with one eye as a banana peel because it's away, number one. Number two, they're in some serious form. They're actually finally looking a bit like a team, and they're a team in form. So I think that will be a lot harder than people think, purely because a lot of people have written off Arsenal and they're used to watching us blow them away. But I think Arteta's doing credit where it's due. He's doing a great job. But same as Graham Potter. Graham Potter did us at home. Remember, we're 2-0 up.
2-0. I know you'll never let that down. We don't.
No.
Yeah, but Gerrard doesn't concede 2-0 leads at home.
Yeah, so we're 2-0 up, right? And we done that one. We fucked that up. So I know we're looking at the City game and all that kind of stuff, but it's game by game for us. And like I said, I think by the time we play Manchester City, I think we'll know if we have half a chance.
Yeah. Well, before Manchester City rolls around, we do have a little case of, and as Rahul says there, yes, City do have a kind of fixture list. Inter in a couple of days. That's going to be tough. I mean, yes, we are playing at home with the 2-0 advantage, but that's not to say it's going to be a cruisy game. And, it's got here advantage versus Inter. And let's not forget, away goals are out the window. So if it finishes 2-2, or if it's, 3-3 at the end of the day, like it, whoever the away goals were, it doesn't make a difference anymore. So, no more Barcelona comebacks.
No,
of
no,
a
no,
couple of
no.
seasons ago, which is a shame because that's what made those away goal matches brilliant. That's the reason why a 4-0 comeback after 3-0 deficit is amazing. That's why Barcelona coming back from 4-0 down against PSG some years ago to beat them 6-1 in the last kick of the game is significant. Like away goals used to mean something. Now it's just like, whatever. Like don't worry about away goals anymore. Just beat the opposition team. So,
Yeah, it's a
but
weird one,
anyways,
right?
so that's what's going to happen in a couple of days' time. And look, again, Inter, I mean, they're going to be coming into this game looking with something to prove. They, I mean, we've had 3 wins. We haven't conceded in 3 matches, whereas they've gone 3 matches without a clean sheet. So it's not going to be easy. But before that, I believe they've got, not before that. I think they're still.
They're second by one. They're second by 1 point with the game in hand.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. I'm like, trying
Yeah.
to see where they're at because I think in the Copa, then they had the Copa, sorry, Serie A as well. They ripped Salernitana, how we pronounce that, 5-0 just the other day. Then they got us next, and then they got Torino in their league. So they're still chasing the league as well. We're chasing our league. It's not going to be an easy match. What are you expecting from this game in particular? European night, Anfield under the lights, all that
See,
good stuff.
I think Inter Milan will be patient. I think they're going to maybe spend the first 40 to 60 minutes waiting to see if we make a mistake. I think this will be one of those ones where it's like, it's like a boxing match. I think they're going to throw a few jabs. They're going to keep jabbing to see if we drop our guard so they can come in for the hook. But after the 60th minute, if it's still 0-0 or whatever it is, they're going to have to commit. They're going to have to go forward. They're going to have to expose themselves. They're going to have to leave gaps. And I think that's when we destroy them.
So it's
But
going to
we've got
be
to
a
be
cat and
careful.
mouse game. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to be careful, right? We got to be super careful because if we concede early, then it's one of those games. It's like, oh fuck, here we go. We can't never just do it simple.
It never just
And
works
then,
out for us.
yeah. But I think if it comes the 60th minute and it's still 0-0, I think they will have to commit. I think they'll have to take risks. They'll have to get forward. And I think that was obviously that kind of game suits Liverpool a lot more than any other club in the world.
It does, provided that's how they come into this game here. I mean, granted, we've been, going through the Champions League 7 matches, undefeated. We've won every single match in the Champions League this season so far, which is amazing. We've been drawing at halftime and winning at full time in our last 3 matches in the Champions League. So whether it be a 0-0, we end up winning the game with a clean sheet. And we've scored at least 2 goals in our last 7 Champions League matches. But again, like you said, that's not to say we're actually going to, hammer Inter. We probably will be thinking, sit back a little bit, don't go too far out, let them come at you because they're chasing the game. Like you said, if you let them chase the game, that'll open up spaces for us to run into. If Mane plays, Diaz, I'm hoping Diaz scores himself a goal or 2 in this game. I can feel it. If he plays, I can just see him doing something fantastic in this match. And then that will sort of like ease it. So you score 1, you score 2 at 4-0. You're thinking, okay, relatively calm, but we can't be, let off our guard. We still need to be hitting these targets that we need to. And then you look to Brighton. If it's 3-0, if it's 3-0 aggregate in the 70th, 80th minute, would you then look to take certain players off and risk those last 20 minutes?
Well, is the score 0-0?
Oh, we've gone 1-0 up. We've scored 1 goal. It's aggregate 3-0.
Oh, then you take them off. Yeah, of course. I think you take who you have to take off because clearly our squad's been proving that they're strong enough to compete and strong enough to do the job. So I think it's something that we can definitely not risk, but we can definitely make some changes if we end up scoring and going up by 3, with 20 to go or whatever it's going to be.
So that's the thing. If we get, if we do get a goal early, maybe even, that means Inter then need to, move forward. They can't afford to sit back and defend, whereas we can, but we know defending isn't our forte for 90 minutes.
They can for a certain amount of time, though. That's what I was trying to say earlier. They can actually sit back and try and soak up some pressure to hit us on the counter-attack, as we've mentioned here with, I think it's Raul, talking about their wing-backs that they like to commit. So they probably will try and look to get in behind our space of the fullbacks. But in order to do that, they're going to have to wait till we commit. So they're going to have to sit back. So I think that it's something that we'll look at doing, trying to see if we can make a mistake and capitalize on the mistake. Like I said, the analogy to the boxing match, throw jabs and see if you can find an opening for the knockout punch. But I think that hopefully, with our experience, our battle scars, that we've been there, done that kind of thing, that we don't fall into that trap where we actually are a little bit more patient in possession, and we kind of say, no, we're up 2-0. You come to us if you want the ball, and then we can try and find the spaces. But I think I'm actually really excited for this one, Nick. I think the first 35 to 50 minutes of this match is going to be real exciting.
And it looks like, in terms of team news, the only player that is confirmed out for us is unfortunately Thiago. I think this game and maybe Brighton's game will be his last before he comes back. Firmino is also a question mark. Matip didn't play in the 1-0 win against West Ham, but you probably say Van Dijk and Konate starting this game again. It seems to be a thing if you don't want to risk Matip from maybe missed out. And the only real question is the midfield in that case. I mean, the front three sort of speaks for itself: Diaz, Mane, and Salah. But the midfield, if Fabinho's in there, definitely. Who do you play alongside Fabinho now?
Then obviously Jordan Henderson has to start just to bring that level head of experience. I'd love to see Fabinho, obviously, because Fabinho is the best in the world at what he does. It's the third one that's tricky.
Because you can put a Naby Keita in there. You can also.
I think Naby will start. I do think Naby will start.
Yeah.
I don't know how bad Curtis's injury is, but I'd rather have Curtis Jones. But
Elliot perhaps as well.
I think Elliot was proven in the last Inter Milan game that it's out of his depth.
Yeah, maybe come off the bench perhaps.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think it will be Keita, Henderson, and Fabinho.
Yeah. Obviously Robertson at left back, Trent at right back, and Inter will have Nicolo Barella back. He was missing in the first leg due to a suspension, but he'll be back in the midfield, and he's a big player for them. So he could be potentially a player we need to look out for in terms of opposition, because he can be the player to distribute balls across the pitch.
Fingers crossed, Jason. Fingers crossed.
Curtis Jones will start, big Jones. Apart from that, it looks to be the makings of a good game. Again, Thiago definitely out, Firmino and Matip questionable. Everyone else seems to be okay. So you got Jota to pick from, Minamino in the front line, Origi even, the midfield, Elliot, Jones, if he's okay, which all indications say he is. Also got Keita, Chamberlain. I mean, hell, if you want Milner in the last minute of the game just to run around, just to waste time, by all means, I'd rather not. But, Klopp's done weirder things. And I think that pretty much, takes us through. And then we see what happens once we're done and dusted here. Fingers crossed. We then look towards Brighton. And that's going to be another big game because can't afford to drop points anywhere at the moment with the way City are playing.
Is that another shit kickoff time for us?
I think it's early. I think that's the 11:30 p.m. game for us.
Oh, now Sunday morning.
Oh dear. Well, I don't think it's that bad. If I'm just looking here,
it is 11:30.
Yeah, so we got the first game.
Yeah.
Got the first game there, so it's not too bad. That's a good time. I can
Well,
DJ and watch at the same time.
The A-League team that we both, I guess, support is at 7:45. So
that's right. So you get yourself an hour and a half, 2 hours break in between to get yourself some fluids and a bit of a snack, and then off you go with the football for the rest of the evening, if that is your forte. But I think we shall call it there. It was just the two of us this evening. Everyone else, for one reason or another, could not attend. But it's nice to see that the two Western Sydneyers can get together via the power of technology and talk about Liverpool FC beating Norwich 2-1 in the FA Cup, beating West Ham 1-0 in the Premier League, and looking ahead to secure passage to the quarterfinals in the Champions League. So onwards and upwards, you red men. Anything further to add before we say goodbye, Peter?
Yeah, just keep an eye out for the channel. Keep an eye out for the next couple of shows. Our UK friends will be doing a Inter Milan preview as well, and obviously a reaction show after that one. So stay tuned. They're still doing their thing as well. It's been a while since we've collaborated, and I'd like to hopefully collaborate soon. But with the time zones and work, it's quite hard to get together. But hopefully we can get together soon anyway.
Yeah, it's part of the problems of living in the future, isn't it, Pete? Everyone is just opposite to when you are available, but it is what it is. But in saying that, we are going to say our goodbyes. Once again, it's going to be a very good week. Fingers crossed. Liverpool all the way. Hey, man, we beat Inter. We move on to Brighton at Hove Albion. We blitz them, and then we look towards Arsenal and move up that table, finish that catch-up game, and still be 3 points behind City with the quote-unquote total race still on. So thank you everyone for watching. Once again, we are the Red Sea Down Under for the Red Sea Podcast. Till next time.